Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning. All right. Good morning. I hope you can hear me.
Yes,
Yes.
Lynn, good morning. Let's just give about 2 minutes.
All right. No problem.
Right, yes, we can get started. Good morning, everyone, and thank you for making time to join the call on short notice. Today we'll be looking at our upgraded system called Business Central. IDRC has been in an effort to enhance its system. They've upgraded from Navision to Business Central, which comes, of course, with very significant changes on how the system works, how processes work. And today we'll be taking you through the interface, how to get around, how to approve in the system, as opposed to the previous system where we had manual budgets, let's say in Excel. Then these are being tracked manually by the grants person. That has since changed in Business Central. What happens is we'll have your budgets and work plans uploaded in the system, and all your work plans and processes will be against those budgets. Take, for example, if you have $1,000 for laptops, you have a budget line. As soon as a request is put in and the procurement process starts, and that figure is captured, let's say you're buying a laptop of $500, the budget check will be instituted at that point, and then you'll be able to track how much you're spending on those budget lines in the system. This process has been ongoing for a while. We've been working with a consultant team called HRP that has been working on this process since last year. And as Catherine pointed out in her email, we have been training the departments, that's procurement, grants, finance, stores, admin, on how to use the system, since it's their day-to-day, really they interact with it daily, sorry. And they have started working. A number of requests have come through. I remember Ebo called me, I think last week. It's like, what is this Business Central? Most of the requests are in the system and they have reached budget holder level. That is the reason why we decided to have this session so that we can take you through when the request comes to you, how do you handle it? How do you access it? How do you view it? We have consultant from HRP called Dean Nabimanya, who is going to be taking us through this session. We'll have multiple of them. It's a quick one, really. Hopefully it will take an hour. But even after this, do not hesitate to call or consult or ask how to go about this. I believe it takes a while. So I would like to invite Lynn Nabimanya, who is going to take us through the session, how to handle our budgets, projects, and approvals through the system. Over to you, Lynn.
All right. Thank you, Alan. Good morning once again. So through this session, we're going to go through what Alan has described. When requests are sent, how do you go ahead approving? We're going to see what is available to action on these requests once they have come through. We have dedicated a profile for budget holders. A profile in Business Central is basically the dashboard that you see when you sign into Business Central. And this is really role-based. So we have a profile for finance accountants. And when they go to that dashboard, they would ideally find finance-related activities at their disposal. So the purpose of this is to ensure really that if you sign into Business Central, the things that are first displayed in front of you are the features that you are actively going to be working with on a day-to-day. So it is really for us to remove clutter so that you are only seeing what is available to you. So currently we have designed a role center for our budget holders, and I'm going to share my screen. Tell me if you can see my screen.
Not yet.
No.
Not yet. Right.
Yes, we can see that.
All right, so this is our first draft of our budget holders role center. We're able to see where we are standing by going to this search on the right-hand side. The settings icon on the right-hand side and running the feature My Settings. This helps us to see this. It helps us to see which role we are under, see the company that we are working within, see the work date, the region, the language, and so on and so forth. So currently we are in the budget holders role center. So we are keeping it very simple. This can be customized to add more pages as you see fit, as you continue to interact with the system. What pages are you constantly referring to? And those can be added here. So this is very simple for now. We're able to see the requests to approve. Some other pages that we left are like suppliers list, project budgets, inventory list, just because we had left it to requests to approve and approval pages. It was a little plain, so we left some of those there. So we're going to look at how to approve. The beautiful thing about this is that depending on no matter where these requests are coming from, which module they are coming from, we have consolidated them into one approval flow. So the process that we are going to go through for, let's say, a purchase or payment requisition is the same that you're going to use for approving any other documents. Really, the processes stay the same. What is changing is the document type. So we're going to see how to make changes to, let's say, to approve, say, a purchase requisition. How is that different from configuration for the approvers for, let's say, a payment requisition? This is strictly, of course, for our IT. I think this will be spearheaded by Alan, and the super users. They will be the ones really aligning our approval chain. This is outside of our configuration, so our budget holders will not have to worry about that. That will be set up, has already been set up for us by our IT. So the very first page that I'd like us to look at is the request to approve. So this is our list of all our pending approval requests that are waiting for our action. Anything that is sent to this page will queue up in here, and you'll be able to see and action on them. So let us see the actions that we have above. We have a search here. Business Central tries to give us ways to be able to filter through a list of so many things at once without having to scroll so much. So anytime, let's say, someone is following up and they've given you the requisition number, or you know who it is coming from, if this is on the assumption that this list has been filled, you can always come here and put the names or the initials of the originator, initiator, so that the list is filtered for you to those people. If you have, let's say, the last 3 digits of that requisition, you can put it in here and the system will filter for you only that requisition that is pending approval. The next field that we have that is grayed out right now because we do not have anything in our list is open record. Open record helps us to see, because this is a list page. A list page is basically a collection of all your requisitions. Right now it's blank, but we are going to have a demonstration and we will see a record come here, and we'll be able to go through all these fields with those documents. So open record would ideally help us to see the contents of that requisition, because the idea is that we need to review and see what fields have been populated, what information is included on this requisition, what is the total amount, so that you are able to, based on that, either approve, reject, or so on and so forth. So we are going to go through that demonstration as well. Then we have after you have reviewed the record, you're able to either approve, you're able to either reject, you're able to either delegate, and then we're able to see comments. Comments are especially for our reject action, because the initiator of the requester of the, let's say, that document, say a purchase requisition, is on the other end waiting. So in the event that there is something unsatisfactory about that request, you can reject it, but you can put a comment to guide them on where they might need to make amendments. So if there is maybe a misallocation of the project, you can put a comment that I think this is supposed to be maybe such, so that the person can go back and rectify. And then, so we will see that on the corresponding document, these comments will be migrated to the other document for the initiator to review and know why their request was rejected. We also have the delegate. So this is in the event that, let's say, an approver is not available, maybe away on leave. The delegate action is for us to move that request and its related requests to the substitutes of those approvers. We're going to see how that is configured, and we'll be able to delegate some requests to approve and see how that is done. So in the event that, of course, you are away, you might not be able to sign into the system and delegate. So the system provides us with something called an approval administrator. So the approval administrator can be notified in case someone realizes that there is a queue, and after finding out they realize that someone is on leave, they can reach out to the approval administrator to move into to come into this page and now delegate. So the system will already know who the substitute is, and the request will be migrated to that person. So comments will be able to see any comments that are on that request once it is there. If that request if that document has attachments, you'll be able to see them as well. All right, so let's I'm going to go ahead and create some purchase requisition. So to be able to take you through the process as the initiator and as an approver, I need to have two instances running side by side. So I'm going to initiate a request for approval. So you'll notice that now when I sign in as somebody else, not the person that I am signed in this side, I get a different interface. This is what I meant when I said that these are role-based. So the person that I am signing in as now is an HR person. So we see that the things that are available to them when they sign in on their dashboard is different from ours as budget holders. Why? Because our roles are different, and we want the system to the system provides us with an ability to customize our role centers to the roles that people are playing, so that as an HR person, maybe I'm not seeing requests to approve. As an HR person, maybe I'm not having right in front of me things like purchase and payment requisitions, because that is out of my role. So that is what I meant by they are role-based, the dashboards or the role centers that we are assigned. So I'm going to go let me confirm the chain. So my initiator is going to be HRP, because I want my budget holders, who is Lynn, to be able to approve. So for purchase requisitions of project search, they will be approved by Lynn, who is the person I'm signed in under under the budget holders role center, and they are going to be the final approver. But for us to be able to also demonstrate our substitution and delegation, I have put as Lynn's substitute somebody called Demos. So basically, I'm saying that in the event that Lynn is not available, if I would like to, me as an approval administrator, to be able to have those requests that are initiated and are directed towards Lynn, to always go to the substitute who is set up here. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and raise a purchase requisition very fast. Right, so I'm going to raise a purchase requisition. My requester can be Stella. Posting date, that's the date that we hope to post this document, can be today for now. As an initiator, I'm requesting that I receive whatever I am requesting for by the 31st of January. I'm going to say maybe procure Testing equipment. It's a bit vague, but this would be whatever equipment our end user is requesting to be procured for them. That is the subject of procurement. So this is to help our notifications when they are coming through to be directed to. So we also have those notifications coming through, and what we are having here is we have some shortcuts. Of course, we don't want the email to come with the entire document. So we request for some people to request for some fields to be filled, so that in the shortcut in the email we have a very short email giving some highlights onto what this procurement is about. So subject of procurement, when I say that it's procure testing equipment, or let's say clinical equipment, let's say something like that. I put the project, I put the work plan. So the total amount, the email will come showing me these brief things, and then it will have a link that I can click, and it takes me directly to the request to approve page. And as well as, of course, the purchase requisition number. So you are notified, and the system will give you a brief information, some brief information on that requisition, just to guide. So I'm going to take this. I haven't picked. So this is search. Yes. NIH. Going to pick a work plan. Say search NIH. Location. I'm going to do a GL. So there's not so much reason to have a location. Currency, I'm going to leave it as blank to procure in local currency, which is UGX. And then here I can put the GL, that the expense basically that has been budgeted for that procurement under that project. So I believe we have some, we had budgeted for equipment costs under this work plan. I see that. I have the annual amount. The amount LCY is the same because there is no conversion. The local currency is the very currency within which we were budgeting for. So we can see that some purchase requisitions have been staged with this total amount. Payment requisitions that have been approved are totaling to this amount so far under that very line. So these are shortcuts you can look at: budget versus actual and the variance currently. So we're able to see that there is some money available, and the system is able to do a budget check here at quantity even before somebody initiates and sends to your queue, so that we know that the funds are available even before someone sends for approval. So I'm going to take my description here. I'm going to put it in here, maybe with a few modifications, maybe clinical testing equipment. So quantity, I can put 1, and then the direct unit cost, which is how much this equipment is going to cost us. So by virtue of the fact that the direct cost goes through, there are funds available, I'm good to go, and can configure our email so that we are able maybe to see that as well before I send for approval. So they actually right. So I'm now ready to send my requisition for approval. So it says, are you sure you want to send this requisition for approval? To go ahead and say yes. So it says the purchase requisition number this requires further approval. Approval request entries have been created. So before we even go further, I'm going to go to my accountant rule center. Under requisitions, I expect that my request is now under pending purchase requisitions, and I see that it is here. So if I paste the value that I had on my clipboard, I see that here it is. So let us first look at something called an approval history. The end user has sent for approval. They're able to see in which stage or level the approval is. The first approval request is the system works in the way that when you send for approval, the first entry generated is a self-approval. It is just a check, and it is always automatically approved. But if we have a chain in place, then the next approval will be whoever you have configured, like I configured earlier. So currently the sender is me, I'm HRP, and my approver is Lynn. So the status is open, indicating that now Lynn should be having a request to approve in her queue, indicating that we are waiting for her to approve that request. Okay. Able to get a notification email. Okay. Need to look into that. Okay, let's not. I'll look into that after. All right, so let us go back to the original interface that I came from, which is here. Previously, when we went to this list, it was blank because we did not have any request pending, but we have initiated one as HRP, and when we come to our budget holders role interface as Lynn, our approver, when you go to request to approve, now we have a request here. So let us look at the actions we had seen earlier and see. So you see they come and they are staged here with very little information. So as an approver, you're not able to see what the contents of this requisition. So in case you want to see, of course, you'll always want to see. That is why we have this action to open record. When you open record, it gives you the purchase requisition that you are being requested to approve. So you're able to see the requester, her name, the posting date, the expected receipt date of the procurement. You're able to see the subject of procurement. You're able to see the project and the work plan that this person that was referenced on our requisition. We're able to see the GL, the expense that was budgeted for under that project for that that procurement related transaction, and you're able to see the direct unit cost here. So if we have some attachments on our original file, you're also able to review them here, although these are the attachments, the standard attachments, and moving forward, we agreed to move with M files. So this is not something that will be here, but we will. I think we are supposed to have an open close action here to be able to see M files, but you're able to reference them because what we have done is we've created a way for you to see the page as it is when the initiator populates it. So that is it. You're able to review the document, and then we can look at our actions to either approve, reject, or delegate. So let us start with the easy one. All is good. You're ready to approve. You would go to approve and it says, are you sure you would like to approve this entry? I'm going to go ahead and say yes, and it disappears from the queue because you have actioned on it. and there is no further action required. So when the person comes back to the initiator goes back to their request, we realize that it is no longer under pending. Let's go back to it and refresh. Yes, pending purchase requisition. If I pick it again, it's no longer here because it has moved from pending purchase requisitions to approved purchase requisitions. So if I search for it here, there it is. So approval history, it means that Lynn approved this document, and we see that the status of the purchase requisition is now approved. Okay, so that is the very straightforward one. Going to go back to Lynn, go back to the open purchase requisitions and do the same one that I did, but this time we can test another action. Still going to be today, still going to be this date. Still going to take the same description. Work plan was that. Still going to be local currency. My expense is GL. Going to still pick my equipment. Costs. Will still pick my work plan, that was the work plan entry number of what was picked. Procure clinical testing equipment 120,000, 1.2 million. Okay, so I'm going to send this for approval as well. So go back to our budget holder and go back to the requests to approve. We see we now have a new requisition. We can open it up and see what is on it. So let's say this one has an issue. Maybe the would like them to amend. I don't know. Let's say the date is wrong or whatever it might be. We can come here and we reject. So when you say you'd like to reject this, it says, are you really sure you would like to reject this entry? I'm going to go ahead and say yes. So the system prompts me to submit a comment to inform or to notify my initiator what needs to be amended on that requisition. So I'm going to go ahead and say, maybe please amend the date and the amount.
Yeah.
So when you do this, the system will automatically stamp in for you your user ID as per the person who is signed into the system and the date and the time. And when you close, the system automatically rejects the requisition with a comment. So our initiator we go to their purchase requisitions, we'll see that their requisition has now gone back to open. Although we aren't seeing our notifications in real time, I think I need to check our SMTP. The end user is being notified that please be informed that your requisition that you put number this and this and this has been rejected. So that is what would inform the initiator to now come back to the open purchase requisitions and look at, let's say, the comments that were put, and he can see that that my approval in put a comment that I should amend the date and the amount. So mine is a very simple one, but of course it can have detail, maybe as per this and this amount is not correct or not accurate, so that the person is now able to come back to their requisitions and make amendments and send it back to you for approval. So that is how we would reject. Once it is rejected, we notice the status goes back to open. When we send it, when the initiator sends it for approval, and it says that request entry, approval entries have been generated for you, the status changes to pending approval, meaning that it is along the chain so that the initiator can come and track the progress of or the status of their approval by looking at the history. So once it is rejected, it goes back to open because the initiator needs to make some amendments to this requisition and send it for approval. So maybe you can amend and say the expected receipt date maybe should be extended by a few days, as per maybe the status we have of when procurements are acted upon, or can come and amend the unit cost if there is, say she added an extra zero by mistake, she can make amendments to her request, and then she can send it for approval again. Says, are you sure you would like to send this for approval? Going to say yes. And it now goes to the pending request, pending purchase requisitions. Pending purchase requisitions. Okay, first. Oh, this is it. Okay. And go back to the budget holder.
Yes.
It's not sent for approval. Let me send for approval. It says has been, requires further action. So requisition, pending purchase requisition. Yes, that's better. I see it here. So when I go back to my budget holders interface, I see that I now have, it has come back. So you're able to see that we have the history. So the history has been updated, that the first two requests that were generated were later rejected. So a new request, a new set of requests has come through. The first one has auto-signed itself, has auto-approved itself, which is the nature of the system. But we have an open request, an open request to be approved waiting on our queue. So that is how we would approve, that is how we would reject. Let us use this exact purchase request to also test how to delegate. So let us take note of some things before we delegate. It will help us to see the changes that the delegation does. Oh, I have delegated accidentally, sorry. Okay. All right, so even once you delegate, notice that every time we have either approved, rejected, or delegated, the request that we had in the queue was automatically moved away. So what happens when we delegate? Let us look at this from the initiator's perspective. Their request is still pending approval, but now when you go to the approval entry, there is a change that has been implemented here. Previously, we had HRP and the initiator was HRP and the approver was HRP, and we had HRP and previously our approver was lien because that is the budget holder we have here, right? But when we delegated, something changed. Now the entry was redirected and is now in the queue of demos. So demos was, if you remember, when we looked at our approver user setup, that is the person that we put as the substitute for lien. Back to this. Getting interrupted. I wanted to tell my team to give me a few minutes. Right. So let me sign in this time as demos. The substitute to which my delegated request should have gone. So demos is still an HR manager, assigned the HR manager, but we can also give them the same interface for a budget holder so that we are able to directly go to their requests to approve queue. So when I go to requests to approve, so we notice that now demos has the approval that was supposed to be approved by Lynn. And at this level, demos can either approve or reject that request. So I'm going to go ahead and approve it. It says, are you really sure you would like to approve this? Going to go ahead and say yes. And my initiator will now have an approved. Let me sign out. My initiator will now have a it was HRP. Let me sign out and sign in as the initiator. Initiator was HRP. If we go to, let me go to the Accountant Role Center. Under requisition, under approved purchase requisition, the initiator now has an approved purchase requisition that was sent through to Lynn and delegated to demos and was approved by demos. So now we have that status of the fourth one, that demos approved this purchase requisition. So this is how we do the approvals, approving, the rejecting, and delegating. We tried to remove the clutter of the other role centers, so that what we have is our approval specific pages. That is one that is going to come in very handy, the requests to approve. It is where all the requests that are waiting for your approval are going to be standing. I mean, in the queue waiting for you, where you can approve, reject, or delete, where you're able to review the document in detail before you action on it. We also have some others like approval history, but this is it's going to really mostly clear out once the approvals are after the requests have been approved. This is what you have at your advantage, but we saw that the different initiators are also able to track the status of their document as it's being approved by the different approvers. Yes. So this will be the same way we would approve any other document that is sent for approval. We have gone through the demonstration with a purchase requisition, but this is how we would do for a payment requisition, for travel requests, bank transfers that require movement, that require approvals. Anything that needs approval will go through the very same interface. The approvals will be configured for us by our super users, and all we'll need to do is wait for the requests to come into our queues so that we are able to action on them. I think we can take some questions now. I'm sure we might have some. Over to you.
All right, thanks, Lynn. Yeah, Tim, do we have any questions up to that point?
Yeah, Alan, can I just ask one,
Yes,
brief one?
Yes, please.
Yeah, thank you, Lynn and Tim. Are the login details remaining the same? Because I think this is, if not mistaken, this is also Navision. If it is, we use the same login details that we've been using.
I could respond to that.
Yeah.
I'm
Yes,
actually sending details during this meeting. So by the end of the call, you'll have the necessary details you need to log into the system.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
And also to add that the username and password remains the same, right?
Yes, it does, but sometimes people would prefer to reset, so it's still okay.
Sam's hand is up.
Yeah.
Just quick question. One, are they budget specific? I didn't see the value of the budget. And second, on the work plan, can we use our annual budget to be our work plan in some of our area like the lab? Because we might not be knowing what to buy at the right time in case of lab supplies. So if we have that whole budget and we know how it moves, I think that would be fine. So also as a budget holder, where do we stand on seeing our budget, how it flows? Are we going to discuss that after this? I submit.
All right. Thank you, Sam. That's a very good one. I think something we may have overlooked when we were designing the role center for our budget holders. I think it would also be prudent for us to also provide for you the different, first of all, the approved work plans, as well as the consolidated institutional budget for your tracking. Although they are not pinned here, that is something we are going to do after this meeting so that is updated for you. But to answer that, for now, we can use this search to go to them. So we cannot directly on those requisitions, end users cannot directly on those requisitions reference the consolidated budget, because that we only provide one way to consume or update that budget, which is through the approved work plan. So the end users must select the approved work plan. Okay, the grants, as the person puts in what they want, these other teams would come in and select the corresponding budget. And then now we are able to go through the budget checking to confirm availability of funds, and then it comes to us for approval. However, if we would like to track some changes, our monies as they are in those approved work plans, they are being consumed as well as our institutional budgets, we have two areas that we can use. First of all, we have our approved work plans. So this gives us a list of all the approved work plans that we have in the system currently. Let's take note of something called transferred to budget. if a work plan has been approved but has not yet been transferred to the budget, we cannot consume it in our requisitions because it is still incomplete. What do we mean when we say it has been transferred to budget? Work plans are the first step, but we have something else called the institutional budget, which is what we will look at next. But at this level, you have the ability and the visibility as a budget holder to come and review what has been budgeted for in those work plans, those approved work plans. But also, you're able to leverage these fields that we put here for us to track our movements. So these are the different quotas that have been budgeted for let's say this work plan number 11. So we have 1 million for the different quotas, 5 million, giving us an annual amount of 76 million for both in the local currency, which is UGX. So we have encumbrances. So these are parameters that we put into place as IDRC, what we would like for the system to recognize as a commitment. So we have encumbrances. If we choose to have encumbrances be recognized as a commitment, that is what is being constituted by that. Encumbrances are basically purchase and payment requisitions that have been approved. So we have something called pre-encumbrances. Pre-encumbrances are purchase and payment requisitions which have not yet been approved, but I think it is agreed that those are not yet commitments. So the commitments are encumbrances, those are requisitions which have been approved so far. So you're able to see what is consolidating purchase requisitions, what is consolidating payment requisitions, and you even have the ability to drill down and see what is making up that amount. You're able to see the work plan that is being consumed and which project as you look at, as you see how the budget is moving. So all these amounts are drilled down, so they are links to give you an idea on what is constituting that, what is constituting that commitment per activity, per project, in the requisitions that have been approved and are seated somewhere. So you have this can help to see how far, but then we also have after all this has now been I hope you can see my screen. I see a notification for internet is unstable. I hope you're able to see at least.
Yes.
Great, thank you, Catherine. So we have the budget versus actual as well as the variance. This is a way we've provided for a person to be able to track and see how the budget is moving per work plan. So this is per work plan, you're able to see, and these are pages that we can put on our budget holders role center. I think that would be prudent, but you can confirm that for me. So this is the first place, but we also have the institutional budget. This is the budget that has now, we call it the GL budgets. So these are the budgets that have been basically the different work plans have pushed money into this institutional budget. We have quite a number here because we do quite a number of tests, but I think in our final company these are more straightforward and a lot neater than what we have here. But this is this is the institutional budget that you are now able to refer to and see all the approved work plans that have been transferred to budgets now come in here. So you're able to run your filters in the system in case you're interested in a certain expense account. If you leverage our filters in the system, you're able to narrow the budget down to only the period or the account that you want to track as a budget holder. You can use, let's say, this GL expense filter. I'm going to try and use the account we've been looking at in our approval, the purchase requisition. I think it was equipment costs. So if you select that, you notice that our system will filter everything else out, and you're able to drill in and see what budget you have for which project and for which activity, what amounts were budgeted for in that. So you're able to even have which period. For example, this is the first quarter, 4 million. So you're able to see what is constituting that that annual amount that you have here. So I think we can provision for these two pages to also be added and put in front of our budget holders row center, so that we are able to track and see our budgets in this nature. Yes, I don't know if I answered your question.
Okay, my first question needs a bit of clarification regarding, this is an institution with
Yes,
over
please.
40 projects and independent budgets. As a
Okay.
budget holder, I want to see that, okay, if I'm going to work on React, is there a portal
Yes.
I can click on and I know, oh, I have this approval on my first pay. So if it is not there, I don't waste my time. I don't know if you are getting my point.
I did not actually.
Because we have over 40 projects
Mm.
and each project has a different budget holder.
No, that is handled in the approval setup. You are only configured as an approver for requisitions or something for within the project. These approvals are project determined. So if
Okay.
the approver, yes, so you're only going to be showed in your queue requests for which you are the budget holder approver for that project.
And
Okay,
then
so it is already filtered.
Yes, it's already filled.
Yeah. So to add some, every project has had its budget input in here as a work plan. So all your projects will be configured here. I think the word work plan is really referring to the budget. It's the same as the budget. So
Yes.
indeed, as Lynn has said, whatever will come in your queue will be the project where you are a budget holder, not everything that is in IDRC. I don't know
Okay.
whether
That's true.
yeah.
Then that one makes the work more friendly.
Yes.
Yes, it is. We have that. We want to have that distinction earlier, so that you're only seeing that which you are responsible for. Okay, I think we can also take Abdul's question in the chat. Do we delegate before the requests for example, if someone is going for leave? Basically, are you saying that should I delegate before I leave for leave? Yes.
But
yes.
if you're opening it and you're looking at the request, then you approve it.
You're around.
And then you're around.
Yes.
Then
So what
we'll handle the ones that
Yes.
will come in when
After you have gone.
it's when you're on leave. And
Yeah.
it's been working fine
The
actually.
budget holders role, Alan and Lynn, or the super user? Because as you
It's
said,
the
if
super
I log
user.
on, yes, because if I log on, it means I'm still here.
You're
So
around, yes.
to the super user, you should let the super user know that you're going on leave or you're going on travel, and therefore you ask them to delegate to the person who is acting on your behalf. Over.
Sometimes they themselves will be like, this is not going through, and someone will inform them that they are on leave. So even the initiator might reach out to the super user themselves and say, now my approver is away from leave, can you delegate for me? So it's available for the approval administrator to pick it up from there. All right. Some more questions
Hand
if we
has
have
been
any.
up. James, can we hear from James?
Yes, please.
Okay, thank you. I think you've thank you, Lynn. Thank you, Alan. Thank you, Catherine. You've I had 3 questions, but I think some of them have been hinted on, but just some clarification. Number one, Catherine, thank you for clarifying that a work plan is a budget, because Lynn got me very confused as she went through a lot of technical jargon. But
Sorry about that.
what I wanted to know is because yeah, when you said work plan, I got really lost because I was like, we're talking about budgets now, work plans. But what I've always wanted is before I approve, to be able to see how much money is remaining on that budget line where they're asking me to approve, because previously that has been the domain of the grants person. But then usually a request comes to me before it goes to grants, and I'm interested in making things smooth. I don't want back and forth. You've approved something, yet there is no money. So I've always been interested in knowing if I had $1,000, but usually 1,000 or 10,000 on the budget line. We've been approving over months. Before I approve, can I see how much is remaining in that budget line? Because I believe the system will be deducting that money at some point. So I would like to, if that is possible, to see it. Then the delegation issue, but you've clarified. I think we informed the super user before we go, because I was like, this should be like an email. When you're going on leave, you put that thing. I don't know what they call it. When someone writes an email and then it comes and says, I'm on leave for this period, contact so and so. So also this, you need to delegate before you go, so that someone doesn't wait for 3 days to realize that their things are not yet approved because the budget person went on leave. This will help us to reduce the Ugandanness in our things. So you move with your office. Then the last one is this rejection. You know, we use this online signing software called DocuSign. And every time it uses envelopes. And I think we are charged per envelope, something like that. So when you reject, it is like a waste of money. So I've always been advised, when you see something and you need to reject, instead of rejecting, call, and then it is edited instead of rejection. And that's and sometimes you don't know who initiated that request. So you lose like 48 hours there. Now here, but of course you can see that if I just reject and I put my reason, it's much easier, and hopefully the requester will see it. But my question is, this like DocuSign whereby we are charged per some entry so that we don't reject many times? I hope you understand. Thank you.
I do. Thank you very much. Those were very interesting questions. I'll start with the last one, the rejection. Are we charged per envelope? No, we are not. You are at liberty to use this rejection as at your disposal as much as is necessary. Really, we do not have any issues on that. The emails are sent in the background by code, so really we do not have any implication of charges. So this is purely okay. And the comments, I think we saw it. After I had put the comment, I went back to the purchase requisition as an initiator, and I was able to see the comment. So this can help with that issue that you've had with DocuSign. It will show up it will indicate for the end user that please be informed that has been rejected. So kindly go to your requisition and see the comments attached. So the person will go and review and amend and send back. Really, there's no need to worry about that. Then monitoring the funds available before you approve. When we have let me see if we can send one. So this was approved. I'm going to go back to this. Work plan 11, GL, equipment. So this is where we would be able to get this, but this is at the initiation level. So I'd like us to see if we can be able to see that as well when the okay, so I'm going to send this for approval. I think I've been okay. Go back to Lean. When we open the record on the work plan entry number, you still can see this from the request itself. So when I went to, let me go back to that. I think I went to it very quickly. So the approver, you've come, your request to approve the document is there. When you open the record, when you go to the work plan entry number, yes, we know it's equipment. Yes, we know that there are funds available, because otherwise this wouldn't have allowed. We would have gotten an error that we have insufficient funds. But how else can I track my work plan entry number to see available? So I see the annual amount is this. We don't have any encumbrances, but we have purchase requisitions of equipment costs that are here. So I think these are also constituted by some of my prior the requisitions that I put in for these purchase requisition for this same expense line. So the payment requisitions, we have these for this amount. So it's showing you how much has been committed on that 7.6 million so far. We see that we don't have any advances, any accountabilities pending. We see we don't have any actual invoice expenditure. So when we see the variance, we are able to see the budget versus actual, and we see the variance. So you have this at your disposal, and it can help you to have that level of detail even before you approve. Notice that you haven't acted on this approval request yet. You're just doing your analysis before you do action on it. That's something you can use for that, I believe. Okay. Would that help with that issue?
Yeah, thank you. We shall try it along the way. You go to work plan something.
Yes.
Okay.
So you open the record, and then you go to the line. So after you've gotten the expense line, you go to the work plan entry line number, and you're able to look at the extreme right.
Yeah, okay, thanks. So variance is what is remaining?
What is available, yes.
Available, okay. Thanks.
Okay. I think I saw something else in the chat. Oh no, I think that is it. Who is the super user? So we said it's John and Alan. Okay. Do you have any other questions?
Yeah, just a quick question. Sorry, my internet was on and off. If I missed it, then just say it. I will follow up with others. If there is an issue and I need to report it, is there a way of, reporting it within this portal without having to go back to emails to type an email to a super user? Over.
I don't know if you could give me an example.
All right, like now you log on, it said, sorry, the current permission prevented the action, and then there's, some information, personal person, and then how, we want to report this. so that
Ah.
someone, yeah, fixes it
No,
for you.
no, that one you have to take a screenshot and reach out to a supervisor to help.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes. Shall we get a quick user guide? Especially if I'm not transacting every day, I'm not proficient, but if I must do some detailed transactions, I have.
Yes, we provide those. I can confirm with Alan if they have already been given or if they are still in work in progress. I'm not very sure.
We haven't shared those, but we'll share.
All right, thank you, Alan.
Yeah.
All right, further questions?
So there's something in the chat. Abdul, he says sometimes we approve and budget allows, but no funds.
But
Where from
let
the
me read that.
finance?
Oh. I think the budget check will be able to cover this. We didn't test requisitions which have rejected because we were using funds that we knew were within the budget, but we have budget checks at all levels, and we try to use the commitments to be able to hold funds for an activity that has already been approved so that those funds are not taken up by a new activity. So this will, I strongly believe, reduce these instances because availability of funds will stop the action from initiation. So at purchase requisition level, when someone tries to put in the request for that money, if the system says there are no funds, then we need to we reach out to finance, and if they need to move some funds around, they're able to do that, and then they give us a go ahead. So once that request is now able to go through and it is approved, we commit those funds for you, so that the person who comes in next is not still being allowed to raise a requisition when the funds which have been put aside just for this one person are already committed. So we believe the budget check will really will stop most of these, and you'll be able to only work with what is available. You provided with grants and finance that guidance on how to reallocate, how to create how to put an additional budget to cater for such instances. Abdu, I hope that answers your question.
Another quick one.
Yes, please.
Is the system linked to our email?
Yes,
sure
it
that-
is.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's one of the things which were already implemented even from lower nav. We noticed that all staff members had their corresponding emails in the user setups. Okay, more questions, please. Okay, Alan, we seem to have questions complete.
All right, thank you. So I have been sending details, login details, to the team. And when you log in, you will notice that you will have a number of requests that are pending your approval. Please give it a shot. I know you have some travel payment requests, purchase requests pending your approval. Not quite many, maybe for the last 2 weeks. So we are hoping to hear from you that you're able to sign off, and feel free to reach out to me or John if you have any issues with signing off. Signing off these requests. Also,
All right, maybe
just
to
to
also
add,
add to that, Alan, if you may. I don't know if we have published this budget holders is profile. I don't think we haven't published the page yet. I'll confirm with Lambert. So in that instance, maybe we could show the budget holders how to search for the request to approve page on the current profiles as we work on assigning them their corresponding profile in the meantime. So in
we
that
have
instance,
published, we've actually
ah,
published that, and like I said, I'm assigning people their usernames
okay.
and sharing. So
All
by
right,
the end of the
thank you.
call,
That's
everyone should be able to log in and
all
sign
right,
off.
great. Great, thank you.
And feel free to do not hesitate to ask the grants team any questions. They went through training, they've already uploaded budgets in the system, allocated them, and feel free to call them and ask them if you have any questions. We'll also work on those additional pages that you had suggested during this call. Unless there's anything else. I just say, so this is helpful. Thank you very much. I'm sure we shall have questions. Yeah, that's true. As you interact with the system, I know you will have
Alright.
questions. Yeah, feel free to reach out. Be able to
Thank
support
you.
you. Thank you all, and have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Right, bye.
Thank you. Bye.